Welcome to Your Cyber Path, the podcast that helps you get your dream cybersecurity job by sharing the secrets of experienced hiring managers and top cybersecurity professionals with you. Now, on to the show.
Now, let's talk about CISM. Where did that come into the picture? Because you told me that you needed CISSP for the job, that was a requirement, had to get that within a certain amount of time. How did the CISM get on your radar so quickly?
And it's a good question to ask. It's like, you just, do you like torturing yourself? Are you trying to be a completionist? Do you got to catch them all, Thanos snap of all the different certs? And the answer is no. But I'm lucky enough that my company will pay for all or most of the certification. These are really expensive certifications. It's up to $750 right now for CISSP, $760 for CISM if you're not a member, which we could talk about later. You can get a discount on that. They're expensive. So I could understand if someone gets the CISM or the CISSP and says, I'm done. And that's respectable. But for me, I have that little bit of safety net. They were mostly going to cover it. And there's so much crossover. They're two different tests. They're the same overarching mindset, but two different perspectives. I would say the CISSP is a generalist and the IT manager up to maybe a CISO level. And then the CISM is at kind of that CISO level. You're making decisions about policy. Maybe you're writing a policy about an implementation, but you're really not having to be, you're very far removed from firewall management.
Right.
And things
you're
like
not
that.
An implementer anymore.
Right. So it was kind of it's going to get paid for. I have all this knowledge. I've already taken 8-9 weeks to study, and it's just bouncing around in my head. And if I don't do it now, I probably could do it later.
Yeah.
But will I have the motivation? Will I still have all that stuff? Am I going to have to relearn stuff that there's stuff that you learn for certs that you're not going to use in your day-to-day life because it's on the test. And there's no shame in that. But if you don't know it and you go take a test, well, then you might find yourself flat-footed. So I wanted to get it right after the CISSP.
Okay. So you already knew you wanted it, and you already looked at yourself and you said, wow, I've just spent all this time and energy studying for a test. There's overlap here. So why don't I just do a little island hop and just go to the next one and just kind of knock it out? I get that. I totally get that. Conservation of resources. Now, what study materials? Did you do anything extra to study for the CISM?
So the same providers kind of cross-pollinate.
Okay.
I would have used Jason's materials, but he kind of stays out of the CISSP CISM world because there's, CompTIA is, you get people started. So I used Thor and Mike again and I used a lot of the same materials, but I had to find the mindset difference because again, a lot of those were 90% of the same videos. Some of them were worded differently, but they were titled differently and they were approached differently in how you thought about the materials for CISM versus CISSP. Because again, you're making decisions on a very high level.
Yeah.
This is kind of on the league of like CISO, maybe even the CISSP, TAC, ISSMP, the management professional. It's a different test with that crossover. Okay,
so then you did do additional study. You kind of went and got the video courses on CISM. You went through them. Did you do anything else? Did you do CISM practice tests?
Yeah, so the same providers had practice tests for CISM. I also used Pocket Prep, which was good. I will say that of the 50 hours of material for the CISM on Udemy and LinkedIn Learning, I had it on 1.75 at this point because I was getting impatient. And it was a lot of the same words, a lot of the same things. And I was jumping around and I was finding things that maybe I didn't get on the first and second and third passes that I did it. I was filling in those holes. Maybe I didn't quite know this. I need to brush up on that. So it was more of a brush up. And then I found with the Pocket Prep, I hadn't used Pocket Prep before. And when you go to a new test provider, they have different wording, they have different methodology, and they're going to approach the question. Some people are very by the book of, well, it's in the book, we need you to know it. And others are like, we know they're not going to ask you about this question, so we're not even going to bring it up. And I was kind of a little blindsided because I was like, I'm going to crush this. And I think I got like a 62 or 65 on the first test, which was good. But I was like, I already passed it. And I was confident that I passed the CISSP. Why am I not just knocking this out of the park? But again, Pocket Prep, the same providers before. I'm trying to think how to quantify the difference of these two different things. But yeah, I would just say that it's at a higher level.
It's just more about governance as opposed to implementation, right? Maybe that's one way that we could sort of, differentiate them.